I mean, you can't. At this point,
Any of
it's
these
just
sports.
a matter of putting together a team. Like,
is it even fair, though? But think about it. Like coaches got fired before the pandemic. Losing his coach got fired before the pandemic, and they had to find one.
Well, actually, that was a mutual parting ways. But, yeah. But the other thing is, like, how are you going to fill your roster, especially with COVID? Because, right, you need extra bodies just in case there's COVID shit happens. But you're talking about all the fall sports essentially in one, 10-week block. Like, and then we're not even talking about all the excuse me, we're not even talking about all the winter and spring sports. So how are you going to get that tight end, who just started playing football but is a better hooper, but actually probably has a longer, better term future in football because he's more of a special athlete there as a 6'6" power forward than just another, 6'6" power forward.
He'll probably play AAU basketball.
That's what I'm saying.
And screw the whole system
And he's
up.
not going to play football. And he's just not going to play football.
No, he'll play football just to get. He'll work out football.
Or the track star, who runs a good 100, but it's not a great 100, but he could still make a big impact on the field. Like, you're going to lose those tweener players for sure. And that losing that competition, baseball, the pitcher, the quarterback, you're going to make them have to choose. So it's like
soccer.
You're taking away that competition, right? By losing those bodies, losing those tweener athletes. And then, as you mentioned, you got guys who are now going to be juniors who haven't really lifted in 12 months, who haven't really done any organized team or play things in 12 months. And then you got a group of freshmen, and now we're looking at breeding into another group of freshmen, who aren't even being integrated into their team, can't even get in the fucking PE class, like, are losing that socialization, that development. And guess what? The game of football was already dying at the grassroots levels as far as Pee Wee and Pop Warner and all those numbers already going down due to concussions. And now you have all this shit going on here. It's just going to accelerate it. Plus, all the ratings issues the NFL is having and, football, I don't want to be all doomsday about it because, I still believe it can be a real community. What's the word I'm looking for? Uniter?
I mean, it's pretty much communal.
Yes, football is a communal sport, but at the same time, we also have to be realistic.
It's a creature of habit. You also can't.
The world is changing, and this thing disrupted it and accelerated what was already happening, which was people moving away from football.
But the problem is, it's really the state, because you look at other states have been open for the longest time, and they got through their COVID issues, and it is what it is. Utah, that was one of the first places we talked about. Alabama, Georgia, all Texas, some places been open. They really never weren't open. And you look at the kid Jake Garcia, who I think is going to Miami, and he played at 5 high schools in 4 years. He transferred from the high schools after Narbonne because they got banned, and then ended up at La Habra, and then ended up leaving the state and was playing at Grayson High School, one of the best high schools in the country. He gets to play in Georgia. These other players in these other states get a high recruiting profile, and academically they're not flustered because, their whole schools of kids literally locker to locker, walking shoulder to shoulder. That's a different kind of experience. And you look at kids in California, and you're not going to say they're not talented, but just the same way you look at how things played out in college football, Alabama was the most prepped team. They were literally the readiest team. Devonta Smith put up the numbers he put up only in an SEC schedule. The southern teams in the states that just have laws that are really laxed and kind of carefree, and some might say even reckless in regards to COVID, they're the ones who were benefiting the most. California's just been on lockdown forever. And then look at all the money they're going to lose from those high school championships. Like, I honestly don't know if you don't just call the whole season, just a bunch of exhibitions and just put asterisks. Because I can't say if a team goes 0-5, is that grounds to fire a coach? Like, is that grounds to uproot your whole program again in the middle of a pandemic? Or you just, like, it's not going to be a bodies issue. I mean, like, numbers are numbers at every high school. My high school 10 years ago, we were really small. Lawndale now has, like, a bunch of kids, like 40, 50 kids. Some of these other high schools, 100 kids deep, never an issue. Every year, year in, year out. I don't really know how you can look at the game and say, okay, we're going to judge you based off scores and like all that, and it's going to be like legit competition, or it's going to be 5 scrimmages and a gentleman's agreement that, we won't keep score. It'll just be a full, like at JUCOs, the way they have the tape sessions where like you can watch.
I mean, at that point, you're pretty much talking about like a spring league, like,
and
you're
pretty
not
much
talking about the regular season. You're
but
talking
that's
about
what it's gonna be, though, right? Like,
I mean, yeah.
They haven't even said a word about JUCO football. Those are a lot of people's lives just screwed.
Yeah, that's true. You're 100% right about that. Especially here in California, where there's a lot of JUCO players, and I'm sure there's a lot of cats from Florida. Like, yo, I'm trying to go over to California. It's JUCO scholarship, and I don't know what the fuck's going on.
And tell me about it, because a lot of cats come from Florida. There was a wave in like 2010 to like 2013 where like anytime a Florida kid,
I remember Pierce had like 25 dudes living in like an 8-bedroom house.
That story is crazy. And like, I got a homie at a college right now. He just transferred, and then when we talked to Raymond Graham, who, by the way, shout out to Raymond Graham, he got into HBCU. I want to say Texas Southern. So salute to him. Salute to that brother. Like, he was dealing with a lot in Long Beach. Him and his teammates were giving food back during the pandemic and everything. He even lost a close family member. Like, there's a lot of gun violence in Long Beach right now. Shit's crazy. But yeah, salute to Raymond Graham. And when it comes to the whole JUCO thing, like, especially in baseball, like when we had Mark Guardabasio on from the 562, there's so much baseball talent in California. Like, it's stupid.
Yeah.
Like, it's stupid dumb. So they got to go to, like, prep schools, military schools in other states. And guess what? There's a numbers game there, too. I have a friend who's playing football in Kansas right now. Thankfully, since the red shirt happened, this was pretty much a free year. But you got guys who are worried, like, yo, like, there's 6-year seniors, 7th-year seniors now. That's wild. Like, you got cats who are at the JUCO, and they're like, well, I've been here 3-4 years. Am I going to get a scholarship? Do I wait till next year? Because if everything is everything, and, like, what is that? How does that look? How does that hurt the new crop of high school kids who are supposed to be seniors right now?
Yeah.
And it
sucks. The whole ecosystem's worse up.
And I don't think, like, they really had a plan. They just threw, like, they said, as long as we get the NFL cracking and, like, that whole BS top-down theory, because it never works, like, they didn't really have a plan for the NFL, so they didn't have a plan for college or high school, and now your whole feeder system's broken. And you forgetting, like, you pluck those kids from when they're children, like the park down the street from me, Alondra Park. They were having kids practice out there. I saw them, Pee-wee tackling and all that, and it stopped.
I will say this, though. Like, personally, I think, like, when I think about my brother, he started late training in September. Like, had he had not done that, had it not been for the pandemic, he wouldn't have been able to do that. And so he wouldn't have be where he's at now, blowing things up and looking good. So, I think there is also an opportunity out there for people who are still finding ways to get to it, whether it's with a trainer, whether it's, hitting up your neighbor who's got, lifting equipment and stuff like that. But, like they say, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. So whoever's out there, playing in the street, even just playing catch, doing whatever you got to do to get your work in and get better. Even playing Madden right now. You know, getting that mental rep in. So those players, there's an opportunity out there.
Yeah. So we got like 10 minutes left on this Zoom thing. So you guys just call back in.
So with that, let's go ahead and move to pros because, well, we're in the playoffs, so there's a lot of shit to talk about.
Yeah, by the way, started off, rest in peace, Ted Thompson, former Green Bay Packers general manager. He drafted Aaron Rodgers and traded Brett Favre.
Yeah, he actually put on I think we talked a little bit about it all last week, the Green Bay coaching tree. You know, there's a long history of both coaches and player personnel people he's put on throughout the league. So
and notoriously, he never really went after big free agents. That was a big thing for Ted Thompson. He would just never do it.
And honestly, I feel like he also, I mean, outside of like Blake Martinez,
wow,
like I feel like he was
Jake Ryan.
Pretty good on the guys he chose to re-sign and the guys he chose to let walk.
Micah Hyde.
You think he should have kept him?
He's an all pro for Buffalo. Like ever since he got there, he's been an all pro player. They should have kept Micah Hyde. They haven't had a punt returner that great since.
I guess.
Let's talk about it.
All right. So this week we got the NFC and AFC Championship game. Green Bay Packers versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But before we get to that, what'd you take from the NFC matchups last week?
The Saints are in trouble.
Yeah,
like they're in trouble, and they
need Drew Brees to retire.
Yeah, and they
need that 30-something million in cap space.
No, they needed that extra QB slot because Taysom Hill had to be inactive because they had Jameis and Drew. And Drew played terrible. And Jameis, the best play of the game for the Saints, was that flea flicker pass that he threw against his former team, the Bucks, a long touchdown to Traquan Smith,
who caught 2 TDs. He
was on my fantasy team as a rookie. He didn't miss, but whatever. When you look at it, there's just that defense is being wasted. Cam Jordan's prime is being wasted. This might have been the last hurrah for them if they don't fix the offense. Michael Thomas was a bust this year. He literally had the same amount of touchdown catches as Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott only played like 5 weeks, bro. I think he played less than that. And like, you factor in the fact that he had 0 catches for like 0 yards. He didn't do anything in the playoff game. He had no catches. Bro, I'm going to say it again. He had no catches.
He probably shouldn't have been talking all that shit before the season because he
jinxed
himself.
He jinxed himself?
But he got paid.
Yeah, but it's like, bro, you caught 147 passes, but guess what? Stephon Diggs didn't need 147 passes to do what he did. You needed 147 catches because you're slow and you're not outrunning anybody. Like, you're a slow receiver who's a possession guy. No matter what route you run, you only beat Eli Apple because Eli Apple's trash. And Eli Apple ran a 4.4. But, like, he being cooked like a fucking apple pie, like, every week. But,
Speaking of cooked, your Rams got cooked.
What you saying, my Rams?
Oh!
What you mean? You mean whoa. First off, when we're talking about pain, shout out to Izzy. Those are her Rams.
Oh.
Thank you, Kenny.
Those are her Rams.
You still have some accountability for the Rams.
Yeah, you do.
They're my old work. Okay, I'll take that.
It's on record.
It is on record. But I told y'all Jared Goff was trash.
I feel like he wasn't the reason they lost, though.
Yeah, because Aaron, I feel bad for Aaron Donald. He was crying, and I definitely saw that meme of him crying, and I'm like, it has to be done.
People roasted him so hard.
His ribs were broken, pretty much.
Yeah,
even Superman bleeds.
174 yards, 1 touchdown, no interception, and a 105.9 QB rating.
And he's done that a few times this year where he's had nothing but crap, and that defense held. But